Coming up in part 2, there's more action from Serie A, a brand new Goal of the Month competition, and James has a look through the week's papers. First, though, we're off to Spain to join Karin.
Good morning and hola from Barcelona and some distinctly British weather. This was the exact place where the 1992 Olympic Games were held, and the same stadium this week is the setting for a match-up with a distinctly Mediterranean flavour, with the Azzurri flying in for a friendly with the Spanish national team. A friendly it may be, but Italy have a lot to prove. With only Lazio left in the latter stages of European competition, the press has been filled with talk of the supposed decline of Italian football. And with only 3 matches to go for the Azzurri before Euro 2000, a victory against Spain could help ease the pressure on coach Dino Zoff and his side. Sta parlando della morte del calcio italiano sul livello europeo. Che messaggio ha?
No, un messaggio che non è la verità. Certo, è capitato quest'anno, credo che sia stato un caso che molte squadre o quasi tutte siano uscite dalle coppe internazionali. Io credo che il calcio italiano sia sempre di buon livello.
Molto importante di un amichevole normale oppure?
No, è importante, nella nazionale in genere di amichevoli ce ne ha poche, o anche le amichevoli sono sempre dei test importanti per delle valutazioni. Non avendo molto tempo a disposizione bisogna tirar fuori il meglio da queste prove.
For this game, Zoff has taken the dramatic step of calling up 2 brothers to the national team. Pippo and Simone Inzaghi are the first siblings to be selected for Italy since the Baresi brothers in the 1980s. For Simone, the younger of the 2, it's the latest good thing in what have been the best few weeks of his footballing career. He scored 4 goals in Lazio's Champions League clash with Marseille and the equaliser against Chelsea, which helped Lazio reach the quarter-finals.
Inzaghi! 1-1!
Sono state grandi settimane per te ultimamente, come ti trovi?
Bene, ho fatto molti gol in Coppa Campioni, in Coppa Campionato, speriamo di farne altri.
Come ti trovi col fratello?
È molto bello, è anche una cosa strana perché eravamo abituati a stare assieme da bambini, poi non ci eravamo più incontrati, adesso è bello essere ancora qua assieme, è una bella esperienza, speriamo che ci sia anche una prossima volta.
Una bella soddisfazione, siamo molto felici di essere stati chiamati insieme e speriamo di fare bene domani.
Una strana sensazione?
Sì, strana, soprattutto il primo giorno. Adesso per fortuna ci ho fatto l'abitudine ed è bello vederlo allenare insieme a me, questo sicuramente è molto bello.
But tonight the 2 will have to face each other on opposite sides when Juventus take on Lazio in what could be the Scudetto decider. Sabato vi dovete anche scontrare.
Sì, quello ci penseremo dopo. Adesso pensiamo alla Spagna, che è una partita difficilissima, poi sabato ci rincontreremo però da avversari.
Sabato uno contro l'altro, speriamo che posso dargli un dispiacere.
And not even the rain in Spain could dampen the enthusiasm of the locals at the prospect of having the Italians back in Barcelona for the first time since the 1982 World Cup, which they then, of course, went on to win. Well, maybe this match will help Dino Zoff finally wave adios to the current climate of criticism in Italy. To see how they got on, let's join Peter Brackley for the commentary.
Off goes Javier Fran for a Spain team who are hoping this year finally to live up to expectations at Euro 2000. They've got 3 in the middle, waiting for the service. This is Raul, good strike, beaten away by Buffon. But now a chance for Echeverria, a double opportunity then for Spain. The first for Raul, who was the top scorer in the Euro 2000 qualifiers with 11 goals, including 4 in a 9-0 thrashing of Austria. Di Biagio for the Italians. Some good interplay here. Now Pippo Inzaghi, is he through? Good stop by Molina, but Inzaghi wanted one touch too many. Now Fiore. And over the bar with Molina scampering back. Great chance then for Inzaghi, who hasn't scored for the Italians now since June of last year when he struck against Wales. Dino Zoff, they're unbeaten away under his charge, and he wants to bring on Simone Inzaghi now for his national debut in place of Fiore. Guardiola's corner. Oh, it's a free header for Alfonso. And Spain go in front on the hour. The Real Betis man who came on at half-time claims his 9th goal for his country. He's only recently come back from long-term injury. Superb corner from Guardiola, and there was no challenge on Alfonso. Guardiola, who's been simply outstanding so far tonight. And Alfonso's header was too strong for Buffon. And where, oh where, was the Italy marking? It's Javier Fran then with the corner. We'll get the markings poor, and again they've been fully punished. Abelardo this time with 10 minutes to go. The second goal that Italy had conceded from a corner. It's the Barcelona defender's first international goal for nearly a decade. And he was left with virtually a free header from Fran's corner. No one near him in the blue of Italy. Well taken corner by Fran. And no one could match the climb of Abelardo. Spain really have been transformed under Camacho. Can the Italians at least find a consolation here? This is Totti. It's a very good save, though, by Canizares. Totti, who has yet to score for the Azzurri. And Dino Zoff's team stay 2-0 down. He doesn't look at all happy with his team's display.
Oh dear, viewers, 2-0 it ended there, while Spain reign, Italy play not prettily, although another word does spring to mind. Anyway, let's turn our thoughts now to the week's papers, starting off with, of course, the reaction to that match, which caused an authentic Hispanic panic in the papers here. Gazzetta, for example, on Thursday morning, Italy tumbles, we fell apart, they say. In Tutor Sport underneath, Italy are orphans, there's no one to lead them the way. And Corriere, Italy are awful, Zoff's side gets head-butted. Unanimous alarm, really, among the papers over the parlour state of the national side currently, with less than 2.5 months to go before Euro 2000. Now, for some, this game was only really judgeable for its first 45 minutes, i.e. before Zoff's sub sunk Italy's chances. However, the game all in all provided a cruel comparison with the Spanish, who with their talent and teamwork are currently everything that the Azzurri are not. Post-game coach Dino Zoff agreed. There was very little positive news for us tonight, he said. Spain are better, and that's it. Blunt stuff. Anyway, with Euro 2000 busy looming away, Gazzetta, meanwhile, tries to raise spirits somewhat by listing the many players that Italy left behind this week, mostly through injury. And a very impressive lineup they make too. There's Peruzzi, for whom they predict a recall, Panucci, Nesta, Conte, Dino Baggio, Montella, and of course Christian Vieri. We'll see if dynamic Dino has better luck with his picks then next time in just under a month when Italy face Portugal in another friendly. Well, as we move on now to the rest of the week's news, it's time for us to touch on the delicate thighs of Christian Vieri, although sadly viewers not literally. Back in part one, of course, we saw how Christian went down last weekend to yet again a thigh strain of the right leg, exactly the same injury that he'd picked up a month ago at Venice and from which he'd only just returned. What's especially worrying is that said thigh problems stretch all the way back to Vieri's time at Atletico Madrid. So whilst he should be fit again this time in just a couple of weeks, the Inter and Italy forward is currently picking up a reputation as dangerously fragile. Vieri, indeed, says La Repubblica, £30 million worth of crystal. The Gazzetta too, Vieri rhymes with injury, which it doesn't, even in Italian, although they could have had Vieri rhymes with infirmary, if they'd wanted. Anyway, the upshot is that there's a growing concern here in Italy as to whether the Azzurri's deadliest striker will actually be fit for the side for Euro 2000. And remember, as a forlorn Zoff commented this week, for him, we have no replacement. Well, thighs of an invalid, as indeed the Arabian Nights might have put it. But we move on now anyway on Gazzetta to our next item, as over at Milan, it's the end of an era as goalie Sebastiano Rossi goes out on his. 10 years the giant goalie had been at Milan, winning, of course, 5 titles and a European Cup, saving countless penalties, and establishing, too, the Serie A record for the longest ever continuous clean sheet at over 10 straight matches. His fiery nature, though, also ensured many a less edifying moment. Well, last weekend, Rossi strayed off his metaphorical line one final time. Having been left out of the starting lineup for Milan's game with Juventus, he interrupted the post-game celebrations to start a massive row with Alberto Zaccaroni, the coach, telling them, the club's vice president, to shut up and warning them both, those who don't respect me had better watch out. Well, Milan's reaction has been swift. Rossi's been dropped from the squad and will spend the last 2 months of this season training on his own on reduced wages. His contract lasts until 2001, but at the end of the season, say the club, he will be sold, bringing his 10-year tenure to a very abrupt end. So, no more Rossi at the Rossoneri then, which is certainly a strange thought. Now, for our final item this morning, viewers, we move now from the ostracised to the Australian with this Antipodean shocker. Australia are aiming for Badjo, which makes a nice change from Prince Philip, but the startling news underneath that Marconi's Sydney, those giants of the global game, are ready to make Roberto a multi-million-pound offer. Now, there is little doubt here that Badjo will be looking to move on from Inter when his contract ends there this June after what's been his most frustrating season ever. Just 5 starts for the club all year, despite the many injuries. I'm guessing, though, that Roberto hadn't previously considered a move down under, but he can now thanks to Marconi's generous offer. Usually, explains their vice president, Luciano Kramer, famously played, of course, by Dustin Hoffman in the film, we don't offer a lot of money, which is why we didn't sign Giuseppe Giannini recently. However, for Badjo, the club are prepared to use the profits from their fruit machines. This is not an April Fool's story, I promise you. Marconi Sydney, it turns out, are actually the owners of a nationwide chain of slot machines and one-armed bandits with an annual turnover of around £30 million. Thus, explains Mr. Kramer proudly, money is no object. Plus, Nicola Berti, who's also playing now in Australia, has rung Roberto Badjo and told him to come on down. Well, despite Bertie's nudges, the whole plan sounds more crackpot, sadly, than jackpot, as Roberto's reluctance to move abroad, even in Europe, is well known. But now, though, Roberto's only comment is, we'll decide everything come the end of the season. So, who knows, eh? Anyway, that wraps it up in the meantime for this morning's look at the papers, and time for us now, thus on Gazzetta, to return to the action with 3 more games from last weekend in Serie A. Coming up now, it's the European hopefuls, starting off with Bologna against Udinese. For that, it's over to Gary Bloom.
Bologna were looking for their first win since the end of January, but it was Udinese who started this game the stronger of the two teams. The visitors came close to scoring early on when the Argentine Roberto Sousa stung the palms of Gianluca Pagliuca. The home side gradually got their act together. They took the lead after 28 minutes. Udinese failed to clear their lines and were punished by Beppe Signori, who hadn't hit the target for a month. 2 minutes later, Bologna went 2 up. Kenneth Anderson set up a chance for Carlo Nervo, who scored with an impressive finish. Nervo claimed a Serie A goal for the first time in 12 months, and after 5 successive draws, Bologna seemed to have set themselves up for a much-needed victory. Before the break, Turchi kept Udinese's hopes alive. The third goal by Paramati here would surely have killed off the visitors' challenge. Midway through the second half, Udinese pulled one back through Roberto Muzzi. He claimed his 100th career goal in all competitions. Bologna's grip on the game began to slip, and the Bianconeri came so close to an equaliser soon after. However, Stefano Fiori's powerful drive lacked sufficient accuracy to beat Pagliuca. Ultimately, Bologna managed to secure all 3 points, but the game ended on a sour note when a heated exchange resulted in both Sotil and Paramati being shown a red card. An explosive start saw Parma take a 2-0 lead within the first 4 minutes of this game. Hernan Crespo supplied the scoring pass for Fuser to open the scoring. The former Lazio midfielder upped his tally to 3 Serie A goals for the season. They've each come in the last 5 games. Goal number 2 was claimed by Amoroso. Crespo, Serie A's second top scorer behind Shevchenko, was again the provider. Amoroso's now scored 2 in 3 games since his return from injury. Cagliari were a different side after the break. Indeed, 7 minutes into the second half, Daniele Beretta halved the Sardinians' deficit. Renzo Olivieri then saw his talented midfielder denied by the crossbar moments later. Still, it seemed just a matter of time before Cagliari levelled the scores. There were just 62 minutes on the clock to be precise. De Patre's well-placed header pulled it back to 2-2. However, despite Cagliari's spirited fight back, Parma still managed to claim maximum points when their substitute Mario Stanic made the final score 3-2. There were just 10 minutes left when the Croatian struck. Once again, Crespo set up the chance to make it a hat-trick of assists. Alberto Malassoni's side celebrated their 4th consecutive league win. Although Perugia were unbeaten in 6 matches, they were still looking to secure their first home win in the 21st century. Sadly for them, they found themselves behind after just 7 minutes. Gabriel Batistuta put Fiorentina ahead with his 4th goal in as many games. Perugia drew level after quarter of an hour's play. Milan Rapaic found the net in Serie A for the first time since April last year. It earned him a round of applause from his coach, but the Croatian strike failed to inspire the home team. Fiorentina had the chance to regain their advantage 10 minutes into the second half. Mazzantini's reckless challenge on Rui Costa resulted in a penalty kick for the Viola. Perugia's players contested the decision, but I'm sure Mazzoni would agree the referee did get it right. Unfortunately for Fiorentina, Mijatovic got it all wrong and Mazzantini was able to make a comfortable save. The Yugoslav international was able to breathe a huge sigh of relief when Chiesa did put Fiorentina back in front 20 minutes from full time. Chiesa's goal won the match for Giovanni Trapattoni's side, although their victory might have been more emphatic. You'd have expected Batistuta to have done better there. Mazzantini then denied Tarozzi his first ever Serie A goal, but the keeper's heroics in the second half weren't enough to prevent Fiorentina from claiming their 4th win in 5 league games.
There'll be more from Serie A in part 3, but now it's time for our Goal of the Month competition and your chance to win an Alitalia Italia Tour trip for 2 to a top Italian game. Just choose your favourites from these 5 goals. So, a reminder of those goals. Choose your favourite and give us a call on 0901 404 40 44. First prize is a trip for 2 to a top Italian game. Second prize is a pair of replica 1960s Italy shirts. And 10 runners-up will win a year's subscription to Football Italia magazine. That's it for part 2. But after the break, there's the rest of last weekend's league action. And James talks to Juve's Edwin van der Sar, who'll be hoping to keep Lazio at bay in tonight's big game.
I was 3-time champion in this country.
I won't laugh at you when you boo-hoo-hoo. Pokemon match of all time. Mew versus Mewtwo. Pokemon, the first movie.
Now, as well as going to NatWest, you can also use the internet to make NatWest come to you. Visit us at natwest.com.
Don't worry, they haven't found out about your buyout plans yet.
Or your management restructuring. Nice suit. Surprised you can afford that with your cash flow problems.
Sold those shares in Hopkins International yet?
Good luck with your brokers this afternoon.
Want your clients to know their details are secure?
Don't.
With BT's e-business solutions, you can.
Welcome back, everyone. Right, Gazzetta still here in Turin for part 3, in which very shortly we'll be looking forward to the dramatic and exciting matchup tonight at the Stadio delle Alpi as Juventus and Lazio battle to see if this year's Scudetto is still a matter for debate or not. Before that, though, we have 3 more games to get out of the way from last weekend, and we conclude now with the relegation battle. Gary Bloom with Piacenza Venezia.
Piacenza got off to a flyer in this one thanks to their teenage striker Alberto Gilardino, who scored his first goal in Italy's top flight. A dreadful error though by Piacenza's Flavio Roma gifted Venezia their equaliser just 2 minutes later. Fabian Valtellina gratefully accepted the goalkeeper's charity. Due to Piacenza's poor defending, Venezia had a great opportunity to claim an away win in Serie A for the first time in almost a year. That victory, incidentally, came here back in April. There was still only 12 minutes on the clock when Runar Berg put the visitors in front. At the other end, Gilardino was still proving quite a handful for Venezia, who had a teenager of their own between the sticks. But the 19-year-old Francesco Bernussi conceded a soft goal with 9 minutes remaining. It was scored by Gianpietro Piovani, who made sure he was credited with a strike, just in case there were any doubts. Venezia definitely saw this as 2 points lost. Now, Gino Facetti's Bari were occupying a UEFA Cup place 2 months ago. They're now battling for survival, having taken just 2 points from their last 8 games. Mohamed Kalon had already threatened Bari's goal before he gave Regina the lead 25 minutes in. The young striker from Sierra Leone took his tally in Serie A to double figures for the season. Franco Colomba had steered Regina to a memorable 2-0 victory at Roma the previous week, but the home team's hopes of repeating that scoreline were dashed by the match officials. Bogdani was ruled offside and Colomba was called on to keep his players in check before they took their protests too far. It certainly was a close call. It mattered little. Kalon's first half strike won the game. After Verona's victory over Lazio the previous week, Claudio Prandelli was hoping for 3 more points against relegation rivals Torino. Still, the home side were unlucky not to be awarded an early penalty after Gigi Lantini appeared to have been fouled by the Dane Martin Laursen. Verona rode their luck and took the lead shortly afterwards. Fabrizio Camerata fed Martino Meles, who put the visitors 1-up. There were 18 minutes gone when the midfielder's accurate strike beat Luca Bucci. Torino almost drew level soon after. Once again, they found luck had deserted them. Samesi was a player kept out by the frame of the goal. It really wasn't Torino's day. Verona sealed an invaluable win by scoring 2 goals in the closing stages of the first half. Camerata claimed them both. The former Torino striker was a constant menace to Lazio's defence in Verona's last game without actually scoring. He more than made up for that in this fixture. Would you believe Verona hadn't won an away match in Serie A in more than 10 years? An upright then denied Christian Brocchi the pleasure of adding a fourth goal, and Camerata twice wasted chances to complete his hat-trick. There were no goals in the second half, but we did see two players sent off, both from Torino. Shortly after testing Sebastian Frey, the Uruguayan Gustavo Mendes received his second caution of the game. A minute later, Gianluigi Lentini was also given his marching orders. Towards the end, Torino struck the crossbar for a second time through Ivic, but the damage had already been done.
Verona's crucial win in Turin lifted them out of the relegation zone and left Torino in even deeper trouble. Bari, who are without a win since January, are also in danger of slipping out of the top flight. At the top, Juve's lead over Lazio is down to 6 points, and they meet tonight at the Delle Alpi. Milan climbed to third following their win over the leaders, and Parma moved ahead of Roma. Andrei Shevchenko stretched his lead at the top of the scorers chart to 4 following his double strike against Juventus. Parma are chasing third place and the Champions League qualification that goes with it, and tomorrow night they're at home to Milan, the side currently lying third. But by far the biggest game of the weekend is tonight's clash between first and second as Juve entertain Lazio. Here's James.
OK, Cam, well, we finish off this morning by meeting one of the key players in tonight's matchup, a gangly Dutchman who stands between Lazio and their Scudetto dream.
Edwin van der Sar is the first foreign goalkeeper in Juve's 103-year history. Juve bought him just last summer for half of what they had just received for selling Angelo Peruzzi, but naturally they hadn't picked just anyone to be their new keeper. Van der Sar indeed has been the Dutch #1 between the sticks for almost 5 years now, and for his old side, Ajax Amsterdam, he'd won 13 major honours, including the World Clubs Cup and the Champions Cup in 1995. Well, now in Turin, the 29-year-old has so far acquitted himself well. True, he plays behind one of Europe's top defences, and true, he came unstuck a treat 8 days ago against Milan. But in this, his debut season, he's more often proved decisive. And after all, you can't really argue with a keeper who boasts 14 clean sheets in just 25 league games. After training this week, we met Edwin to get some truly tall stories for this April Fool's Day.
You came here at the start of this season, you had offers from a lot of clubs all over Europe. In England, they talked a lot about Manchester United, but you chose Juventus. Why?
I chose Juventus because, I don't know, I think they were the most serious. There was a lot of rumors, and of course we talked to a lot of other clubs, and but I think Juventus was the most serious, and it's a great experience to play in the Serie A. It's a very big competition.
You took over from Angelo Peruzzi. Was that difficult?
Yeah, he's a great goalkeeper. He played there, I think, 8 years, and yeah, just me. He won everything. Also here with Juventus, I won everything with Ajax, and here with Juventus, and that's difficult because the people know him, they know the style of playing, and I'm not really the same type of goalkeeper. So that's difficult in the beginning, and also you don't know the players and the language. That's difficult, and you have to
acclimatize.
Acclimatize a little bit.
Nice word.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Is it hard to stay concentrated in some of these games when you don't see the ball at all?
Yeah, I thought Ajax had a strong defense and played good, but here some games I really don't get any ball, or that's as a goalkeeper you should be happy because you have to try to win a game, and when it's not possible to shoot on the goal, you don't let in a goal.
Right.
And but the defense is very strong with Montero in the middle and Ferrara, Giuliano, and they know their job.
Right. Apart from the football, do you like it here?
Yeah, it's really nice. We have a nice house in the mountains a little bit. I'm not living in the center, so it's quiet, and also when you're in the city, it's not like when you have 20 people behind you for asking for autographs, and everywhere you come is they want to touch you or something. It's not here in Torino.
Like that.
That's more like Rome or the southern part of Italy, and here in the northern part is a little bit like Holland, I think.
Just a little.
A little bit more.
Yeah, okay. Listen, it's gone well though, hasn't it? I mean, you've had 14 games keeping a clean sheet, as we would say. Out of, what, 25 games I think you played in the league?
Yes, I missed 2. Yeah, 25 games.
And 14 games with no goals. It's gone well.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, but yeah, the season isn't over yet. The most important thing is the championship. It doesn't matter for me if I have 30 goals behind or 15 goals. The main thing is to become champion.
Well, with the championship in mind, what about then tonight's matchup? Lazio, of course, lies 6 points behind Juve at the moment, but remember, at the equivalent point last season, Milan were 7 points behind Lazio, and we all know how that went. Now tonight, Juve can see off their title rivals for once and for all, but Lazio, though, could close to within 3 of the Turin Giants, dealing them at the same time a major psychological blow. It's the kind of pressure fixture that would make many people tense. Edwin, though, is apparently looking forward to it.
Yes, of course, because those are the nice things. That's why you play soccer. It's play football, because the games against Lazio, Roma, and Milan, Inter Milan. Yeah, that's great. It's a great experience, and of course we hope that we play a good match, and we should try to win it.
Right. Well, you've got Mihalovic coming up. Have you practiced for him? Can you practice? Is there anything you can do?
No, don't think you can practice. I think you just have to be take a good position. And just anticipate on the ball and not go prematurely than the ball.
Okay, excellent. He's frightening though, isn't he?
He has a good shot in his left leg.
He scored on De Huy, your friend.
Yeah, I saw it 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Did you know that they've won 3 of their last 4 matches here, Lazio against?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling.
Not at all. And also, well, I mean, they seem to have returned a little bit to their early. You remember at the start of the season they were doing so well, and they don't traditionally finish off seasons well. But at the moment, they won away against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They won the derby last Saturday. It does seem that they're coming to Turin at a particularly good time for them.
Yeah, so that's our job to change it.
Right, it's make or break for them, and for you guys, if you win, that pretty much seals it. I mean, facendo gli scongiuri, as they would say. But so it should be a fantastic game, no?
I think so, yeah. And I think the stadium will be packed. It doesn't happen often here.
No.
But I think the audience or the tifosi would see a nice game.
Okay, and you've luckily got a front row seat as well. You lucky guy.
Yeah. I hope so.
Okay.
I'm lucky.
Excellent. Edwin Starr for you there. Proud possessor of probably the finest pair of ears in all of Serie A. Anyway, everything's set thus for tonight's big game at the Stadio delle Alpi. Probably the biggest fixture, we'd suggest, in Europe this weekend. And thus, naturally, here at Channel 4, we've rearranged all the schedules to be able to bring it to you live. April Fool, viewers. Actually, we're on with highlights tomorrow at the rather convenient time, though, of 1:45, our normal Sunday slot, in other words. So why don't you tune in then at 1:45 Sunday afternoon on Channel 4 for the best of the action from the Stadio delle Alpi as Juventus face Lazio. Meantime, though, that wraps it up for this morning show. So from all of us here, it is arrivederci.
Now, a Channel 4 magazine to accompany the series is available monthly from newsagents, and it'll cost you £2.75. It's the penultimate programme. Iceland is always the location, and there's complete mayhem. They're racing off the road next.
Hey, fellas.